भगवते वासुदेवाय। Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtuprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So, continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Prayers by Queen Kunti and Parikshit saved, text number 40 onwards. Ime janpada savridha supakvoshwadhi virudha vanadrin adya udanvanto hi dhyante tavikshite. All these cities and villages are flourishing in all respects because the herbs and grains are in abundance. The trees are full of fruits, the rivers are flowing, the hills are full of minerals, and the oceans full of wealth. And this is all due to your glancing over them. Somehow there is no mention of any big industries, car industry or IT industry or any other industries. So this was the real wealth of the cities and villages in Vedic times. Human prosperity flourished by natural gifts and not by gigantic industrial enterprises. The gigantic industrial enterprises are products of a godless civilization, and they cause the destruction of the noble aims of human life. The more we go on increasing such troublesome industries to squeeze out the vital energy of the human being, the more there will be unrest and dissatisfaction of the people in general, although a few only can live lavishly by exploitation. See, this is a problem with the gigantic industrial enterprises. Only few people live lavishly, only the owners or maybe the top management, but the rest of the people they work so hard. And Prabhupada writing, they squeeze out the vital energy of the human being by making them work so hard. And then there's unrest and dissatisfaction of the people in general. The natural gifts, such as grains and vegetables, fruits, rivers, the hills of jewels and minerals, and the seas full of pearls, are supplied by the order of the Supreme. And as he desires, material nature produces them in abundance or restricts them at times. So these natural gifts are there and which can be produced in abundance by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. The natural law is that the human being may take advantage of these godly gifts by nature and satisfactorily flourish on them without being captivated by the exploitative motive of lording it over material nature. See, when we live off of the natural products, then we are living by the nature's arrangement. So there is no question of lording it over material nature. But when there is this industrial enterprises and other sorts of businesses, then we are trying to lord over the material nature. We're trying to control and trying to exploit, and that's where the problem starts. The more we attempt to exploit material nature according to our whims of enjoyment, the more we shall become entrapped by the reaction of such exploitative attempts. If we have sufficient grains, fruits, vegetables, and herbs, then what's the necessity of running a slaughterhouse and killing poor animals? That's a big problem. Because once we get into this uh, industrial problems, then these things also come as part of package of that. A man need not kill an animal if he has sufficient grains and vegetables to eat. The flow of river waters fertilizes the fields, and there is more than what we need. one person.
When we have got more than what we need, the food and all, why kill other animals too? Indurana,
Harinath Prabhu, I'm gonna mute you. So there is no need to kill animals to eat if we have sufficient grains, fruits, and vegetables. But all this is all because of this artificial civilization that we have developed. If the humans, okay, if the human civilization has sufficient grains, minerals, jewels, water, milk, etc., then why should it hanker after terrible industrial enterprises at the cost of labor of some unfortunate man? And actually, we call it civilization, we call it advancement. If more and more industries are set up. And this is what Prabhupada used to say, if nobody is going to grow crops in the field, what are we going to eat? Nuts and bolts. We cannot eat that. But problem is because of our exploitative nature, desire to enjoy more and more, we are giving up our original stuff that we agriculture and living off of the natural way of way. Then all the problems start, and then there is pollution of water, pollution of air, pollution of earth, and at the same time pollution of the consciousness, and all these problems start. Just like I think in one of some place, I don't remember where I gave in the lecture. Early days, when people used to have a little farm and a cow, so when they want a chapati, they want to have a roti to eat, they would grow their own wheat, grind it, make nice atta, fresh atta, and then they make the chapati on a wood burning stove or a cow dung burning stove and eat it. Now imagine if we have to eat a chapati. So first of all, the farmer is going to grow the wheat. To grow the wheat, now he cannot have his own seeds, I heard. He has to get the seeds from government agency. Then he has to plant those seeds. For planting those seeds and then watering, and then comes harvesting, and before that fertilizers, because he doesn't rely anymore on the cow dung as a fertilizer, so he needs all the fertilizers. So fertilizers again, government steps in. So many agencies are there to supply fertilizers, and to make the fertilizers, whole industry is required. Chemical engineers are required, and so many engineers are required to make the fertilizer. And then he has to harvest that this crop. Then he needs tractors. He needs other equipment. So again, so many industries are required to for him to harvest the crop. And then all these big machinery cannot go to the village or the farms without roads. So again, we need civil engineers, we need irrigation engineers, we need this engineer, that engineer, and to make that truck or whatever equipment, then we need so many engineers to make that machine. And then the rubber is required for the tires, petrol and diesel is required. To procure petrol and diesel, now we have to have special arrangements with the Middle Eastern countries. So the government steps in, and so to keep those countries from jacking up the prices of petrol, and to for them to send the petrol or diesel to India, and the whole military is required so to protect the petrol and diesel, and all this just to give for us to have one roti in a plate. And just see, I mean, then he harvests, then the farmer goes and harvests the crop, and then he packs it up, sends it to so many places, through so many, it changes so many hands before it reaches the shop. From the shop, again, he goes and they grind the wheat, make atta out of it, and then the atta we go and buy the atta. Again, we also need so many things to buy the atta, and then the atta comes home, and now we need gas. So again, so many industries are required for just for us to have one chapati. Can you believe that so many people are involved? So it has become so complicated, and that too, the atta that we eat, it's not the perfect atta. It doesn't have all the nutrients but we need. It has so many chemicals, and that's why then Ramdev Baba steps in with this yoga asana, so digest that poor atta because our stomach cannot digest it anymore. All this just to eat one chapati and digest it. Can you believe? And earlier it was so simple. Just grow your own wheat, grind it, eat it. See, our life has become so artificial now. And we are very proud of it actually. We are becoming less healthy. We are getting so many diseases by not working hard. Every day we complain about, oh, I want to lose weight, but I cannot lose weight because we don't work hard. We have no physical or very less physical work. It's more sedentary lifestyle we have, and then we complain. I mean, it's all we have made our lives so artificial. And this is a gift of modern industrial civilization. But all these natural gifts are dependent on the mercy of the Lord. What we need, therefore, is to be obedient to the laws of the Lord and achieve the perfection of human life by devotional service. The indications by Kunti Devi are just to the point. She desires that God's mercy be bestowed upon them so that natural propensity be maintained by His grace. Upon them means upon the Pandavas. But very next verse, now look at it, what she says. Now she is happy that Krishna's mercy is there on her sons, and they all are flourishing. The kingdom is flourishing nicely. But now what she says, Ath Vishvesh Vishvatman Vishwamurte Swakeshu me Snehapasham imam chindi Drinam Pandushu Vrishnishu. O Lord of the universe, soul of the universe, O personality in the form of the universe, please therefore sever my tie of affection from my kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vrishnis. Now she is saying, okay, they all are happy, they all are flourishing, but please cut off my ties from both the families, from Pandava's side and from Vrishni. Vrishni means her father, paternal side. A pure devotee of the Lord is ashamed to ask anything in self interest from the Lord. But the householders are sometimes obliged to ask favors from the Lord, being bound by the tie of family affection. Shrimati Kunti Devi was conscious of this fact, and therefore she prayed to the Lord to cut off the affectionate tie from her own kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vrishnis. And she is very sincere in asking all this from the Lord, because next verse we'll see what she asks. Many times people they come, they go to a sadhu or go to the Lord, oh Bhagavan, please take away my affection, but in the heart they're not true. It's just a lip service they do. But here Kunti Devi, she's really praying from the bottom of her heart to cut off this tie because she wanted to be connected completely with Krishna. The Pandavas are her own sons, and the Vrishnis are the members of her paternal family. Krishna was equally related to both the families. Both the families required the Lord's help because both were dependent devotees of the Lord. Shrimati Kunti Devi wished Shri Krishna to remain with her sons, the Pandavas, but by his doing so, her paternal house would be bereft of the benefit. All these partialities troubled the mind of Kunti, and therefore she desired to cut off the affectionate tie. It's so difficult to cut this tie off. So difficult because our bondage, our connection with our families is so strong that Kunti Devi herself is praying to Krishna, you please cut it off. It's very difficult. It's not easy. A pure devotee cuts off the limited ties of affection for his family and widens his activities of devotional service for all forgotten souls. The typical example is a band of 6 Goswamis who followed the path of Lord Chaitanya. All of them belonged to the most enlightened and cultured rich families of the higher castes. But for the benefit of the mass of population, they left their comfortable homes and became mendicants. To cut off all family affection means to broaden the field of activities. That's the way, how we cut off the family affection. Without doing this, no one can be qualified as a Brahman, a king, a public leader, or a devotee of the Lord. The personality of Godhead as an ideal king showed this by example. Sri Ramchandra cut off the tie of affection for his beloved wife to manifest the qualities of an ideal king. It means the renunciation. It's there in the devotee's heart. As more they progress in bhakti, more they get detached from the material world. But somehow Queen Kunti, she is saying, or maybe it's her humility, she is asking for to cut off the tie because she's kind of suggesting that she's not attached totally to Krishna. Such personalities as a Brahman, a devotee, a king, or a public leader must be very broad minded and discharging their respective duties. Srimati Kunti Devi was conscious of this fact, and being weak, she prayed to be free from such bondage of family affection. So, such personalities as a Brahman, a devotee, a king, or a public leader must be very broad minded. Broad minded means they should not have any attachment with their own family when they're discharging their duties. So Brahman should not just be partial towards his own family. Brahman should be uh, acting on the path at the level of soul. Vidya Vinay Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Harsin. So with all the knowledge, he should be looking at the soul, not the body. Similarly, a devotee, a king, he should not just work for his family. He's a leader of the whole society, whole kingdom. So he should look after everybody, or a public leader. So Prabhupada writes then further, therefore it is sometimes experienced that the Lord, out of his special affinity toward a weak devotee, breaks the family affection by force of circumstances arranged by his all-powerful energy. By doing so, he causes the devotee to become completely dependent on him and thus clears the path for his going back to Godhead. So sometimes it is seen if it's a weak devotee on his own, he cannot be detached, then Krishna takes care of it. Just like although Srila Prabhupada is a different example, he is Mahabhagavat, but for Prabhupada also Krishna did that. Prabhupada was with his family and he had written a manuscript of Bhagavad Gita, and his wife took that manuscript and sold it to some person and in return for the uh, tea biscuits. And when Prabhupada came home, he asked her, where is the manuscript? She said, I haven't seen that. He said, yeah, I just left it here. I had left it here. She said, oh, maybe I gave it away for the tea biscuits. Prabhupada got so angry. And then he asked her, what do you want, tea or me? It's a famous dialogue in Prabhupada Lilamrita book, tea or me? And then Prabhupada said she kept on sipping on the tea. So he got the hint. That's time for me to leave. And we should be thankful to his wife. If Prabhupada hadn't left the house, then where would we be? So we won't be sitting here discussing Shrimad Bhagavatam in the so early in the morning. So sometimes Krishna arranges by force so that devotee cuts off his affection. So cuts off the affection or being detached doesn't mean we don't do our duties. We don't take care of responsibilities. Even while living in the household, we can still be detached, but taking care of the duties nicely. So that is only possible if we are getting attached to Krishna. So that is the next verse that Queen Kunti is saying. Tvai me ananya vishya matir madhupataya sakrit ratimudvahata adadha gange vogamudanvati. O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. So the main reason for her prayers is not cutting off the affection of Thais. The main reason is for her to be attracted constantly towards Krishna. And the example she gives very nice, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance. No matter how many hindrances come on the way of Ganges going to the sea, whether it's a big stone, big rock, or some bends are there, somebody have made dams or whatever, but Ganges continuously forever flows towards the sea. So no matter how many hindrances come on our way, we should always be looking towards being connected with Krishna. Perfection of the pure devotional service is attained when all attention is diverted towards the transcendental loving service of the Lord. To cut off the tie of all other affection does not mean complete negation of the finer elements, like affection for someone else. This is not possible. A living being, whoever he may be, must have this feeling of affection for others, because this is a symptom of life. The symptoms of life, such as desire, anger, hankerings, feelings of attraction, etc., cannot be annihilated. Only the objective has to be changed. Desire cannot be negated, but in devotional service, the desire is changed only for the service of the Lord in the place of desire for sense gratification. So, desire has to be there. Anger, hankering, feelings, they all have to be there, will be there, but they all can be dovetailed in the service of Krishna. The so-called affection for family, society, country, etc. consists of different phases of sense gratification. When this desire is changed for the satisfaction of the Lord, it's called devotional service. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna Prabhupada is saying, Arjun refused to fight with his brothers and relations. But when he heard the message of the Lord, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, he changed his decision and served the Lord. And then he became a famous devotee of the Lord. So this was Arjuna's. It is said Arjuna's desire of not fighting was another type of affection. So this is what Krishna wanted to change. The our attention is usually diverted to the service of something which is non-godly or not in the program of the Lord. When the program is changed into the service of the Lord, that is to say, when the senses are purified in relationship with the service of the Lord, it's called pure, unalloyed devotion service. Srimati Kunti Devi wanted that perfection and prayed for it from the Lord. And now Prabhupada is writing, her affection for the Pandavas and Vrishnis is not out of the range of devotional service, because the service of the Lord and the service of the devotees are identical. They are all our devotees, so serving them was as good as serving the Lord. Sometimes service to the devotee is more valuable than the service to the Lord. But here the affection of Kunti Devi for the Pandavas and the Vrishnis was due to family relationship. This tie of affection in terms of material relation is a relation of Maya, because the relation of the body or the relation of the mind are due to influence of external energy. And Kunti Devi wanted the relationship on the basis of soul. This relation of the soul to soul can be established by the via medium of the relation with the super soul. Seeing in the darkness is not seeing, but seeing by the light of the sun means to see the sun and everything else which was unseen in the darkness. That is a way of devotional service. So very potent line Prabhupada is writing. Relationship of the soul to soul is only possible when Krishna is in the center, when it is based on Krishna consciousness. It can be established by the via media of the relation with the super soul. So anyway, first we have to develop our attachment with Krishna, and then automatically other detachments will take place. So I'll stop here. See anybody has any question or comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
In this verses was being prayed by Kunti Maharani that she's praying to cut off her family affection. But by this time, her families have prospered. They are in a very good position. So she didn't ask for this earlier, but she saw that the family is now very comfortable. Now she wants to cut off the affection. I'm just wondering whether that is real detachment or renunciation. So even that time when the family is comfortable, then somebody says, "Okay, I will take renunciation now." So is this real renunciation?
Ah, well, yeah, now she could have enjoyed the kingdom, but she didn't want to. She could have enjoyed like the mother of the king, and she is the mother of the king, but she didn't want to. So far they were in trouble, then she was always remembering Krishna, and now she is afraid that now troubles are not there, so I might forget you. So she's asking for this severing of the ties, cutting of the relationships. But at the same time, look at Yudhishthira Maharaj and the Yudhishthira Maharaj and Pandavas and Draupadi Maharani. I mean, just few years later, when Krishna left, Krishna in Prabhashetra, he finished off his pastime. Yudhishthira Maharaj and all the Pandavas, along with Draupadi, they just left the kingdom and went to Badrinath, and then they left the body there. So they were also not at all attached to the kingdom. They were only attached to the service. Is that okay?
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other question or comment? So I guess we can stop here then. You all have a wonderful day. See you all tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.